Mute your microphone and speak or just start. Okay, thank you. Oluwafemi says, um, yes, you are. Thank you very much. Okay, so I have one person say so. Do I have any? Let me have more confirmations. I have just one. Okay, Demola says I can hear and see. Okay, that's fine. Absolutely perfect. Thank you guys for confirming that. So thank you, Jason. So welcome tonight, and we'll just get right to it. So Noel, good evening and welcome to the New Frontiers Learning webinar. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Ayo. It's my pleasure being here.
All
Good
right.
evening, everyone.
Good evening. So we're excited to have you, and in fact, I can't wait to hear you tell us all those things that you want to say. But then before Noel goes, I'd like to say that Noel Agbeha is a financial advisory and investment professional. He currently leads the origination, structuring, execution, and portfolio management of Nithio's debt financing transactions in West Africa. So he joined Nithio from PwC, where he was a senior associate in the deals advisory team. At PwC, he was responsible for providing transaction advisory, corporate finance, and business recovery services to clients across various sectors in West Africa. He holds a bachelor's degree in accounting from the University of Benin. He is a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria and a CFA Level 3 candidate, and very soon a CFA charter holder, right? Noel, I can't wait to.
Fingers crossed.
It's going to be a very big
So
celebration.
that
Like,
want to go.
we'll come and celebrate your charter on webinar like this. Like,
I know,
just
right? Looking
thank you
forward to
very
that
much.
too.
Yeah. So welcome, Noel, and I'm excited to be with you tonight. So
Thanks
guys, let's
again.
get into it quickly. Briefly, tonight, the session will begin with our interviews. Of course, then we will have a very brief conversation on the CFA and you. Then we'll take your questions, the audience, and then we'll wrap it up this evening. This session typically takes about 90 minutes. We hope that we'll be able to um, add tremendous value to you within that period of time, right? But then before we start tonight, we're beginning with a few polls, right? So let's take a few polls tonight and let's see. And this polls 1 minute for each of them. So please let me launch the first one. Please confirm that you can see the poll that I launched. It will run for 1 minute. So let's see. Is this your first time attending our webinar? Let's know. We'd like to know if this is your first time attending the webinar. Thank you guys. I see a lot of engagement, more than 50% already. So parts, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. 75% engagement. The poll is still on. We'll allow you on. I'm sure there are a whole lot of people who need to join tonight. But all right. Okay. Okay. Thank you. I've got quite a number of newbies and people who have joined us before. Okay, then. Thank you very much. So let's start. Just a minute. Okay, so I just ended that. So let's move to the next one. We'd like to know how soon you're taking the exams. February 24, May 24, August 24, November 24. How soon are you planning to write the exams? Okay, half of us have responded. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We're over 30 seconds in. We need to get as many of these as possible. So as it is, we have more people writing in May. Equal number writing in February. So half of people who have taken part will write these exams in May. Okay, 25% in February, 25 in August. Thank you. So I'll just end this poll. Then the final one. This is important for us to know as well. So, how many years of experience do you have in the finance or investment industry? 0 to 1, 2 to 4, 5 and above. Okay, scrolling, scrolling. Okay, 25 seconds in for more people to take part and join in the pool. Okay, okay. I think we've had most people that are going to go to it already. So we have more than half, or we have half who are 5 years and above in experience, then 2 to 4, 20%, 0 to 1, 30%. Thank you so much, guys, for your participation. We would just take it on from there. So welcome once again tonight, and we'll just dive straight into the interview so that we can make the most of the time. So thank you very much for agreeing to do this for us, Noel. I'm pretty much excited to be speaking with you tonight, right? So first, quickly, I've said a bit about yourself, but it's very possible that there's a whole lot I didn't capture in that. So the floor is yours. So say hi to your people, welcome them. If there's any other thing in your background, it won't be bad to know at this point.
Okay. So yeah, as Ayo mentioned, he gave quite, the summary of my background. Currently work as an investment officer. Previously used to do financial advisory. But then a couple of things about my sort of professional career that are not out there as much are the fact that in addition to these related and major aspects, I've done quite a bit around the accounting space. So worked a bit in accounting, did tax for a while, some strategy work, and interestingly, I did something close to industrial engineering, which is very weird for an accounting graduate, right? So I did that for about a year and a half, just understanding processes and optimizing processes.
Interesting.
While I did not see myself doing that long term, what it did for me was just expose me to another line of thinking and, viewing businesses, processes, and ultimately when I look back, I see that it has helped me a lot, right? In terms of the fact that now, while I am looking at businesses, in terms of looking at them from a financial analysis point of view, I'm
Mm-hmm.
also able to look at how their operations translate to those finances. So, part of the reason why we had the poll around, just getting an understanding of where everyone is in terms of their professional career is we understand that in addition to the learnings that come from CFA, another benefit is it helps to propel us professionally, right? And I just wanted to understand where everyone is in terms of if we are still trying to figure out what we expect to be doing in the next 5 to 10 years, or we're already on a path and we're just, moving along that path. And for those of us that have figured it out, good and fine. And for those of us that are still looking to figure it out, I think the one key learning from my experience is if you, no matter how do I put that? You are allowed to stray a bit, right? So there is no set path. So if today you are doing counting and you want
Mm-hmm.
to do investments,
Mm-hmm.
learn the accounting, do the accounting very well, and
Mm-hmm.
also set your eyes on the investment. Because at the end of the day, when you start doing investment, you find out that you need quite some knowledge of accounting to actually do that investment. You need to have understood that, right? If you are doing tax and you think, oh, that's not necessary for me, in the future, when you're making an investing decision and
Mm-hmm.
you find out that some decisions are primarily driven by tax reasons
Mm-hmm.
and you find out that oh your basic understanding of tax that you thought was not useful will turn out to be
Mm-hmm.
something interesting.
Yeah.
So I hope that's something else that we take out. from this conversation in addition to the CFA learnings.
Thank you very much. I think that's pretty much important. There is a way as human beings or as professionals where we can set our eyes so much on the future that we think that today is irrelevant in the past, the journey that we're taking.
Exactly.
But no, it's that's not correct. If you're gonna move, yes, you're gonna move from A to Z. You're at point J right now, right? It's A to J was part of that journey, right? And
Yeah.
it's important. Thank you very much for bringing up that. I mean, we were just behind the camera. You and I were having a conversation about one of you who had slammed this exam at one sitting every single time. Share
Yes.
moved from level 1 to 3, and I told you of how even at the last webinar, he was telling me about how he wasn't sure the outcome of the exams, but hey, he passed. He's a law graduate. Shegun is a law graduate. Shegun hadn't done anything apart from law, you know, straight from law school, law
Yeah.
graduate, right? And he wouldn't say, if you ask him, that doesn't contribute to that. There's no learning from that. There must be some learning,
Oh,
that you have picked
definitely.
up. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I think that's very important. So, would you then say that your accounting background was why you opted for a career in finance, or was there another story around that?
Yeah, definitely. So for career and finance, to be
Yeah.
honest, it was accounting.
Okay.
It seemed like the logical step then. You read accounting and you are like, accounting is cool, but I
Yeah.
don't want to do, the typical accounting. So what's the next
Okay.
closest line? And then you think of finance. Interestingly,
Good.
the first time I thought about doing corporate finance, I just thought
Hmm.
about doing it because the name sounded nice. It
Actually.
was corporate finance. I was coming in, at that point I was coming in entry level again. I did entry level for like 3, 4 times. So I was coming in
Good.
entry level again, and it was like, oh, corporate finance, you're going to be doing deals advisory. That sounds really interesting.
Sounds really
And I
good,
was like,
actually.
okay, I want that. So when we're looking at what to, fill in the form, since I read accounting, there was audits, assurance, tax, advisory. So
Hmm.
it was easy to pick any. And I was like, no, I'm going to take advisory because I want to do deals, because I want to do corporate finance. And
Hmm.
interestingly, I got there and it was actually nice. Apart from the fact that the name, it was really interesting. It was what I wanted to do. The
Excellent.
accounting knowledge helped,
Hmm.
and it was very, very challenging. So you're
Hmm.
getting there, you're seeing people that had experience. You're seeing people that you're seeing even those who didn't have experience in that field were
Hmm.
very, very fast in terms of learning.
Hmm.
So that was really, really mind opening. So
Excellent.
yeah, so just moving into corporate finance and now doing investments
Hmm.
it has been very interesting work, very
Excellent.
interesting and fulfilling work.
Excellent. I mean, thank you. Thank you very much. So it was something that looked clear from the beginning.
Yeah.
Maybe not entirely clear, but at least
Yeah,
the fact
I had to,
that
dabble into a couple of things for a while.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
That's
forgetting it.
interesting. Thank you very much. So let's start zeroing in to why
Okay.
we're here tonight. Level one, level two. Yes, you're a level three candidate right now, and I from my little interaction with you, I can imagine how people perceive level three to be now.
Monster.
But then, but then for a level one candidate, for a level two candidate, they'll feel the same way if they're just coming from
About
level
true,
one.
true.
Exactly. So, in fact, the fact that if the numbers even increase, right? The fact that there's a progression kind of
Yeah.
suggests that there's
The certain
something
level of
tough.
difficulty that comes with it.
Actually, exactly. Yeah. So, but let's leave level three right
Okay.
now, and let's talk about level one, and let's talk about level two. What were your biggest memories?
So biggest memories, I think everything was all in the preparation.
Hmm.
So for level one, I wrote level one. So I wrote level one once. That was December
Mm-hmm.
2019. I
Okay.
wrote level two twice. So the first time I
Okay.
wrote level two, we had just moved to virtual learning. That
Okay.
was,
Okay.
just post-COVID. I was supposed to
Hmm.
write in 2020 and
Can imagine.
then pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. And at some point, I couldn't push it anymore. So I was like, okay, let's
Hmm.
just get this over. And I wrote it without preparing. And the
Hmm.
results showed I did not prepare. And then I
Oh,
wrote level two the second time, 2023, earlier this year.
yeah.
So, first off, my biggest memories were it was the amount of work in terms of preparing for the exam. So for example, level one, we we sort of moved in as a group, and I think that's also something that I would suggest. So
Mm,
level one, I was writing with about five of my colleagues. So
okay.
we all came to New Frontiers together, took classes together. So, for example, on Friday evenings, right, then we would have Friday evening classes. We would all
Mm,
go from the office to New Frontiers. And then on Saturday, rinse and repeat. Sunday, rinse and repeat. And some days when we have like free time, we'd also go back to the office to read together. So
mhm,
it may not just be the case of, us reading the same thing, but we're
mm,
like reading in the same space. Or you knew
mm,
that you were reading in room A and you had
mm,
someone in room B. So
mm,
that feeling of having people studying with you
mm,
helped.
mhm,
It also helped in terms of um, getting you up to speed faster. We know
mm,
everyone learns at various paces, but then there
yeah.
is this sense of competition when someone comes to tell you that, oh, this is month one and I'm done with three of the courses. And you're like, yes. Or someone tells you two months to the exam, I read the whole curriculum and I'm
Yeah.
done. And you ask the person a random question and the person gets it and you're like, okay, I need to speed it up. So that was I remember vividly one of my friends and colleagues came up to us at some point just early into the preparation and told us, oh guys, I'm done reading, I'm done with the curriculum. And it was like, okay. So that really helped. So that was, I think that was a key part of my exams, the preparing as a group. The same thing for
Mm,
level two. But the difference for level two, since by the time I was writing level two, it was 4 years after.
mm,
So most of us had, moved from PwC. And then I came to New Frontiers and I met new friends and we started that group preparation again.
mm,
So we would come together either at my office or sometimes even my house and then read together. So that
mm,
was like a core memory preparing
mm,
for the exam. And it helped.
mm,
We read together, answer questions together. So
mm,
sometimes when we look at the question bank, we pick an answer and everyone has to defend their answer before we confirm who is right and who is wrong, and then
mm,
learn from that. So
mm.
yeah, that was a core memory for me.
So much. Wow. So the preparation
Yeah,
and 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 just like we were having this conversation about how ideally ideally you would be able to tell on the level of support that you provide, the outcome of somebody's preparation. But then there is the human part where you don't know what this person is doing with his time, how he's making the most of his time, how he's effectively, preparing. And that's why very few people talk about how preparing in groups help.
yeah,
I know there is power in community. I know, a lot of people come to school to find and they find community. I mean, just like in your case as well. But then ultimately, there is how very few people talk about how we move in groups, right? The people just want
yeah.
to do their things themselves.
Solo.
And
Yeah,
I, yeah, and I and what was it the same at level one and two? I know you said you worked in groups in
yeah,
both levels, but was it was it always as pleasant? Was it always as easy? I would expect, for example, say at level one, because everybody's just coming in for the first time.
yeah.
There's this energy, and all that, right? Is it the same at level two?
So for level two, it wasn't.
Mm.
So I'll give it two. For level one, like you mentioned, there was a lot of energy, right? It was our
Mm-hmm.
first time and it was really exciting. Oh, you're seeing this exam and you're ready to dive into it. So that was how we approached level one. So everyone came with a lot of energy into level one. For level two, for example, the first time I wrote level two, I was writing it just because I needed to write it. Like I didn't have a choice anymore. I extended and extended, right? And there was no preparation. There was little community. So I was just in my own silo. COVID also happened, so you can't meet as much people. So it was maybe a month to the exam. I had a friend come over to just glance through, but then it was almost too late. The second time I wrote, it was a case that we had to actively find that community. So, for example, we all met in class, didn't know each other, and then we created a group, and somehow some people work and other concerns, they had to drop off. So the just a few of us actually then stuck together to, prepare together. But then the energy was the energy varied. That's the truth. Because at that stage, you are now more the initial euphoria has worn off. You now know that this is serious business, right? You are done with one level, you are looking to get to the next level. And you know that the requirements are different. So level one, you need to get a good grasp of the basics. And once you understand those basics perfectly, you are good to go. For
mm,
level two, you are then being tested in a deeper understanding. So you are
mm,
no more answering one line questions. You have a whole passage, and from that passage, you then have to, decipher your answer. For level two, you have one answer that is correct. You have one answer that seems correct, and then you have the answer that is not. So there's the possibility of you going for the answer that seems to be correct. And then the whole exam is bulky. Level one is bulky, level two is bulky. So you have to put in more hours. So yes, the whole story about 300 hours is not a myth. Like, you actually have to put in those hours. Like, there's no other way. There really is no
mm,
other way. You have to
mm,
put in those hours. So for level two, the excitement wore off, but then it was sort of replaced by, commitment, that discipline and diligence to say, we started this and we are going to finish it. And I think for me, another part of it that I found exciting was because I had done valuations previously. Level two was, for some of it was helping me, put in fixed pieces to some part of valuation that I hadn't done previously. And for others, it was just something new and exciting also, right? So you're looking at options, you're looking at stuff that may or may not even exist in the Nigerian market, but
mhm,
then it's still exciting stuff to learn. So that was another motivating factor. So
mm,
yeah. So yes, it definitely is different. So
mm,
one thing I learned is what the amount of preparation that you put into level one,
mm.
you would also need to add some level of preparation in order to get to level two.
Okay.
So yeah, so for example, assuming you took level one assuming you prepared for level one using one of the alternative textbooks, for example, and
Yes.
that was pretty much straightforward, and then
Mm,
you answered questions and then you passed. Or you took the option of just answering questions repetitively and then you
yes.
passed. For
Mm,
level two, I would suggest you change your approach, which to such that you are able to read the full text, at least
mm,
to the best of your ability, before
mm,
answering questions, such that you
mm,
have you have a full grasp of the whole concept. And the reason
mm,
why I say it is there are some questions that you can't, at some point, you may not even be able to pinpoint the particular course this question is coming from. If you
mm,
know it, you know it. If you don't, you don't.
mhm,
So it's a different ball game. So yes, prepare fully for level one. Like, prepare as if level one is level three. And then
mhm,
when you get to level two, rinse, repeat, and add some level of additional level of preparation. It may look like,
mm,
oh, you've done everything and there's nothing more to do, but I assure you there's something more to do. So if you
mm,
read the cover back to back for the
mhm,
whole curriculum back to back for level one, for level
mm,
two, read it twice.
mm,
Yes, if you're able to do
mm.
it once for level two, read it twice. Because that was another mistake that a couple of us had. We assumed level two was going to be like level one.
Wow.
So that's what you have. Yeah, so you get level one, you finish 90th percent, and you get to level two the first time and you don't pass, and you're wondering why. But all in all, most of the time, I've seen that if you prepare really, really well, there's a very high chance that it's going to reflect, because it also affects your confidence level. And when you are going to the exam confident, it shows. So for level one, I went in, I was having fun in the exam. For level two, the first time, I came out after the first paper and I was just laughing. You know that laugh where you know that, okay, we are done. For level two, the second time, I went in and cumulatively, I don't think I had over an hour to spare if we were to add the time between first paper and second paper. I had
Mhm,
so much time. Like it was like, okay, we are done. And I didn't want to feel proud, but I could tell my close friends that I'm not just aiming to pass level two, I'm aiming for like 90th percentile. And that's what happened. So you can imagine not passing the first time and the second time
mm,
having 90th percentile because the preparation was very different. And
mm,
it also reflected in the amount of confidence. So when I
mm,
was doing my mocks, I was confident. Like
mm,
I knew that, okay, I'd prepared, I'd read, I'd answered almost every single question in the question bank.
mhm,
Like the online
mhm.
yeah, learning the online learning center. I'd answered
Yes.
almost every question. I think there was only one course, okay, one and a half course where I did not answer like the questions. But
Mm,
every other one, every single question. So yeah.
okay. Wow. That was heavy. And so you said a lot of things about how you have to put in the hours. You've talked about how whatever you did at level one, you should double at level two, right? And there's something about reading the whole text where it's understanding. You need to understand it. If you understand it, then you understand it. If you don't understand it, then you don't, because you don't even know. You could be seeing a question and you don't know that, oh, this is a fixed
Yes.
income thing, this is a derivative thing. Okay, let me talk about, and I like your story. Let's talk about, let's talk specifically now about your level two, the first one and the second one.
Okay.
What was different in very specific terms?
Very
What
specific
did you
terms
do differently?
differently.
Right? They were both computer
Okay.
based, weren't they?
Yes, they were both computer
Okay.
based.
So it
So yeah.
wasn't there was no it's not
No,
a
there was
case of
no, it was just
paper
my level
computer.
one that I had to,
Yeah.
use paper and all
Good.
that.
So
So specifically, first time and second time. And I
mm,
think, yeah, another benefit of this, right, I guess for most people is, most people here is the fact that you get to see both the pleasant and not so pleasant side. Because most of the
mm.
time, I'm guessing you're going to hear people say, oh, I just passed everything. And then you are only learning, what to do right. You don't know
Please
what
tell us
to
what to do
avoid.
wrong as well.
Exactly.
What not to
So
do.
yeah. So yeah, exactly. So the first time I wrote, first mistake was I started preparing very late. Very, very, very late. I think that was part of the reason why we had the poll where we wanted to confirm or where when the exam you're looking
Tend
to
to write.
write. I started
Mhm.
preparing very, 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 very late. And it showed. So for the first time I wrote, I think I actively started preparing about 3 months to the exam or so. It was really, really late. It was that bad that at some point, and even when you are preparing, because imagine having to write an exam and you get to a point where your first time of seeing a particular reading is on this small, small sheets, like smaller version. Yes. Now compare that to the second time I wrote where I read some of the readings on the curriculum, page to page. So I wasn't even looking to use the smaller books. For some of the readings, I decided that I was going to do curriculum. Then classes, another difference was the first time I wrote, because it was still, that COVID, aftermath of COVID, and we're having online classes. I really wasn't used to online classes. Even till now, I prefer going to the physical class. So I was still getting adjusted to online classes. And what that did for me is the distractions were just a lot. Like you're chilling in your house and they're having an online class and there's tendency to sleep in the class. Sorry, I but there's tendency to sleep in the class. Or someone calls you and you just get into one nice conversation. Oh, you're on your WhatsApp group, you're typing or something. There are a lot of distractions. And a lot of those, I fell prey to them. But then the second time, we also had some classes that were fully online. For example, ethics was fully online. So you know what I did in those classes? Anytime we have an ethics class and they ask a question, I would always reply. So there were times where some people would like literally send me a message saying, like, Izzy, are you the only one in this class? I'm like, I'm not trying to be the oversabi person in this class. Believe me, far
I'm
from
just
it.
trying
But
to be awake.
if if I'm not active in the class exactly, and what happens is even the people speaking to you They bounce
Mm,
off your energy. So when you are
mm,
active, what that does is that the person starts calling your name. So there are classes where
exactly.
she will call my name, like Noel. What are your thoughts? And if I
Okay.
know they are going to call my name, I have to listen.
Exactly.
Exactly. So that really, really helped me. So I was very
Mm,
like there was a time when we were having this fuel issue and I was looking for fuel. I was in my car. My ethics was on in the car. I was in the fuel queue. I was there answering questions, like giving my answer. Oh, what do you think? B. And then she'll ask why, and then I'll answer. So even when I was online, I then tried to be very, very active. But preference for me is the physical class
yeah.
because you can't sleep in the physical class.
Mm,
You cannot be pressing your phone when your lecturer is looking at you. Like they will,
mm,
like literally. So
mm,
there were times where we had some classes where we had to. Oh, there was time where we had a class where we were like only two people physically in the class. I think there was one we had where I was the only person around. So the lady told me to go and join online. So it's not weird because it was just one of us. Because there was time where it was just me and the instructor in the class. But I liked it because I want to be like active. And
yeah.
there are some of us that learn from listening. So when I hear
Mm,
something, it sticks.
mm,
So for and especially for classes like derivatives and fixed income, where when you look at the curriculum, you start seeing all the
mhm.
plenty signs and all that. It just makes things worse. When you have the guys come here, they explain it to you. You have Michael, and Michael explains it. It makes it look like it's so easy. You write it down in your own words. It always helps. So I was
Yeah.
very, very focused in class. They were even on one of my birthday, I was in class. People were sending birthday wishes, and my phone was just there in one corner. I was in class. So I was like, I'm not doing any birthday celebration. You should keep your birthday. Birthdays come every year. I'm not going to ICFA every year. I was in class. That was another difference. Then the amount of preparation. So for this time, I started preparing months in advance. So start preparing months in advance. I made sure to read every single reading, every single reading. And after reading, I would answer the end of chapter questions from the curriculum, which is also very helpful because sometimes it seems as if they just, pick and from there. So end of chapter questions in the curriculum. And then I was always taking notes in my own words. So like key points, I'll take them, I'll put those as my notes. And what I did with that was 2 weeks to the exam, a week to the exam, when you can't start flipping through the curriculum or your Wiley or your Schweizer, I just pick that note and I'm like, oh, this is the formula. Oh, this is how you value this. Oh, these are the key points to look out for. Oh, this is the difference between IFRS and US GAAP treatment of this. Super helpful. So I was always, you know, taking those notes. Um, excuse me.
Frankly.
So another thing I did differently was I actively planned. So I had a sheet where I wrote the list of all the readings, I, where you had the readings, and then I would tick, oh, I'd done reading A, tick, done reading B, tick, like that. Then questions, total number of questions, how many I've answered, tick also. So I had that, and that was really, 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 really helpful also. Um, then of course, the group reading was, and for me, another reason why the group reading helped, especially the second time where we're then actively doing it is, so we would fix a day to answer questions, and you can't answer questions if you've not read.
Yeah.
So what that did, it created a timeline for me. So if we said that, oh, Thursday evening we are going to be answering questions, what that means is I have to read everything on that particular reading before we're answering questions. So that was another sort of key difference between the first time I wrote and the second time I wrote. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And that's because these things need to be very, very clear. Very, very, very clear. Um, People don't, I mean, the CFA Institute is too organized to just um, to just give a certain kind of result. If you get your result, that is truly your result. You just need to find out why. You get what
Yeah,
I'm saying? It's very
true.
unlikely that there was an error with your result. I mean, I'm sure there is a way students can. I'm sure there are exam policies for people to ask for, clarifications around their results and all that. But many a times for a body like CFA Institute, it's very unlikely. Very, very unlikely to be that you just got results, right? So there must have been reasons for the kind of results that, like I was just saying to you that, well, they never say people fail. They just say they didn't pass yet, right?
No pass, yeah. True.
So you just say you didn't pass. It just means that we just can't say that you're a level two candidate yet. We just can't say I have fit to go to level three. If we release it like this, we get into trouble, right? And
Yeah.
it's what it is. The examiners are the examiners. So it's just for us to find out what we need to do. And one thing you kept mentioning was early preparation, which I intend to talk about right now. That's the message we are preaching at New Frontiers right now. 2024, it's not business as usual. We are not playing. We are not having we are not chasing it's not a wild goose chase here. It's clear what we're doing. We believe that the variable that we need to tweak right now is the variable of early preparation, right? It's an independent variable, if you understand what I mean by that. It's important, even after you have taught people, provided mock exams, given them recordings, 24-hour access to your faculty at no additional cost, supported them in various ways. What I am unable to do, the only thing I am unable to do for any candidate is to prepare for them. Like I always say when I talk to people, I love my wife, but can I breathe for her? No, I can't. I can't breathe for her. I can't eat for her. I can't go to the bathroom for her. It then suggests that the most important things in life will be done by you for you, right? It's and that has to be clear. So and that's I'm glad that I mean I've not even asked you about it, but I'm excited that you're talking about it. There is something about early preparation. This is not an exam. I mean, you talked about confidence. It was clear. There was a way you felt the first time. There
Mm-hmm.
was a way you felt the second time. I mean, when a student begins to talk about passing at 90th percentile, it's no more a question of whether I will pass or not
Or
pass
not.
anymore. And that's not the conversation we're having. It's how well
How
is it
well
going
will
to
you
pass?
pass?
Exactly. So and that's possible every single time. That's possible. It just meant that if the variables were played correctly or aligned correctly, there was no need to have failed the first time. That's
True.
what it meant.
True.
That's absolutely, and we need to come. So, as an individual, as Ayo Kunle, I do not um, pride myself as a very intelligent person. No, but there's one thing I know about myself, Noel. I don't deceive myself. I know how to tell myself the truth, right? And that's what you've said tonight. You can't how you felt the first time was different from how you felt the second time. I mean, you haven't even met the giant, and you're already sure that you have slain the giant. Before writing the exams, you already know that you have passed. And the question is not whether I'm going to pass this exam. The question is, how well am I going to pass these exams? That's where we want everybody to get to, right? Whether it's a struggle of the curriculum, for 3 months, a candidate can be on the matter of is it Schwezer, is it curriculum, is it 12? It's a reality that happens to
Yeah.
candidates where they have about 4 months to the exams, and 3 months in, they are still, I don't even know. Is it Trezor? Is it curriculum? And I like the way Abiodun handled it on one of these webinars. I said, see, pending the time when you will make up your mind, just
Start
start
reading.
with the curriculum. Right? Just start. Because what indecision does is that it robs you of that early start, right?
Yeah.
And that's something I heard you talk about, and you are clearly an advocate of the curriculum,
I am.
but but
I
particularly at
am.
level two. Why is that?
Yes. Yeah. So the reason why I like the curriculum is first off, it's the book recommended by the people who are setting the exam for you.
There's no doubt about that.
So, and well, from what I've seen, there are a lot of information they put in the curriculum that it's not just for examination purposes, it's for your own personal knowledge.
Mm,
Like it's almost like a mini MBA. Like you see
mm,
case
mm-hmm,
studies. You're
mm-hmm,
not going to bring some of these case studies. I'll tell you about Ford Motors or something like that.
mm-hmm,
But it
mm-hmm.
just helps you in like expanding your mindset. I
Yeah,
agree. Most people writing the exam, they are not the focus for everyone, of course, is passing as opposed to,
yeah.
expanding your mindset and all that for most people. But if you have the time,
Mm,
again, why we advocate for early start, if you have the time, I would recommend you read through the curriculum. It's
yeah.
very, very tough. That's just the truth because you are reading a lot of pages compared to if you're using a shorter text, and every other text is a shorter text. It just
Mm,
depends on how short they are. But
mm,
then it sort of gives you a lot more information. And when you are done reading the curriculum, there, there is almost no way you can say you skipped anything. Even the small concepts that look like, oh, they just wrote a line on this, it will be in the
yeah.
curriculum. If it's not in the curriculum, then you're not going to see it in any other text.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one for me. But then in the event that you cannot, so I think another thing is to know yourself and pace yourself.
Absolutely.
If you're starting preparation 4 months to the exam, then probably should not be reading the curriculum. If you're starting 8 months to the exam, 7 months to the exam, by all means, start with the curriculum, then pace yourself, give yourself a time to say. So another thing is you can try working back from the exam. Exam is May. So that means by let's assume end of May. So that means by end of April, I should be done with all my reading, right? Or let's assume 2 weeks to the exam, I should be done with all my reading and just have some free time. So that means end of April, I should be done with, say, solving questions. So that means I should start solving questions by end of March. So
Mm-hmm.
that means if we are in November, I have November to March. So if I start curriculum and by January, I see that I've not gone halfway, then maybe I should then pick and choose my topics. So, okay, so maybe I should take some topics from the curriculum or some readings from curriculum and take some others from a separate text. It also boils down to knowing yourself and just making sure you pace yourself, making sure that you're on that timeline.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thank you very much for
And
that, Noel.
yeah,
Go ahead. Go ahead, please. It's fine.
yeah. I think one last thing I wanted to flag is I know people always talk about it, but from my experience, we talk about it, but I feel like we don't talk about it enough,
Mm,
even as much as we talk about it, which is the
yeah.
ethics.
Yes.
So in any level, ethics is
Mm-hmm.
key. And
Mm,
I personally have seen quite a number of like results where the people do really well and ethics is low and they don't pass.
mm-hmm.
So you know automatically that it's ethics because it's not a case of minimum passing score. It's not a case of, you didn't meet the percentile, it's ethics.
Yeah.
So, and there's the tendency for people to feel like, especially at level two, to feel like, oh, I did ethics in level one, I'm good. It does not apply that way. In level one, don't feel like you're an ethical person because you give money to people on the streets and you do your job diligently. CFA's definition of ethics would when you get into it, you see that it differs from what you knew
True.
before. There are sometimes
Yeah.
where you see something that looks right to you, and to CFA, they're like, mm-mm. And there's sometimes where they give you a recommendation and you feel like I probably would have not gone this way. So
That
you
way.
have
Yeah.
to learn ethics according to CFA.
True.
So please, that's a very, very, very key issue. My
Mm,
recommendation for ethics is start with ethics and finish with
mm,
ethics.
mm-hmm.
So you do ethics at the beginning of your preparation,
Mm-hmm.
and just before your exam, you revise ethics again. Because
Mm.
you can pass every other thing. If you don't do any ethics, then you almost can. I'm saying almost because maybe there's someone who has gotten very low ethics score and passed what haven't seen.
Mm.
Yeah.
Thank you, Noel. I mean, this is profound. I'm sure that the person who needs this thing is actually on this call. I mean, I'm hearing from you. You are the first person I'm hearing from. You should
Yeah.
start with ethics and end with ethics. That's so we have this session with a lot of candidates, and no two sessions are always the same. On youtube.com/New Frontiers Learning Center, you would have we have all kinds of videos there, right? Or recordings of these sessions, and no two sessions are the same. this is very unique to this session tonight, starting with ethics and wrapping up. I think it's powerful. I think it is because, I mean, you don't want to put in all that work and fail because of ethics. It can be disastrous. I mean, how? So you are taking, so you are going to take this exam all over.
because of one course.
Oh God.
Exactly.
Because you probably chose you. I mean, because many times it's the attitude of people towards it that makes it that way. And you will know that yeah, the reason why this result came out this way. So I think this is a big one. Ethics. This is a very big one. Thank you very much, Noah, for that. Now let's look at it like this. So level one,
Yeah.
level two. There are two different levels. If you want to split, you've shared a lot of things tonight. If you want to split optimal strategies that are peculiar to these levels, what would you say for level one, for level two? And that's because there's a level one candidate on this call and there's a
Yeah.
level two candidate. Let's speak specifically to them. What would you
Okay.
say at level one
So,
and what would you say at level two?
okay. Optimal strategies, right? Level one versus level two. For level one, right? I think you are able to adequately pass by using alternative text. So, for example, you can read with your Schweizer or your Wiley. For me, if you're doing any of those, you should merge it with attending like classes or like watching videos of the lessons, right? And then, okay, I'll stop there first. For level two, I would recommend to the best of your ability for some of the courses,
Mm,
try your best to use the curriculum. Try your best. There are some courses where, for example, for ethics, for me, for both of them, use the curriculum, right? Level one, level two. For level two, for some of the courses like fixed income, derivatives, try to use the curriculum. There are some others, maybe FSA, where you can decide to use a smaller text. For both level one and level two, answer all the questions and start answering questions early enough. Answer all the questions in the CFA question bank and do all the mocks. My advice, I haven't taken it as much because I did my mocks very close to the exam. But looking back, it would be a lot better to do the mocks at least a week, 2 weeks before your exam. That way, you sort of know where you stand. So if you've prepared adequately and when you write your mock, you see you're getting 75,
mhm,
you get more confident because
mhm,
most of the time the mock is actually like CFA mock is harder than the exam, at least from what I've seen. So you're getting
mhm,
75 in the mock, you feel okay, you are ready. And then you can go and revise that mock. For in terms of class participation, for level one, I feel like to the best of your ability, you should try to do it physically,
mm,
especially like I said, to the best of your ability. If you are
mm,
not in the country, then there's nothing you can do about that. But if
mm,
you are around, the reason for that is you are just starting. So
mm,
having that physical presence
mhm,
can help you in terms of, getting your preparation on track, pacing yourself, and just knowing that you are not alone. For
mhm,
level two, you can do a blend because at that point, you probably have experienced, the physical classes. You now have more understanding of CFA. You know what it takes. So if you want to then flip between physical and virtual, that's fine. You can, decide to um, move between both of those. For level one, group study is fine, but then they are testing concepts. So um, you may or may not do without that. For level two, if you can, I would recommend group study. For example, right now I'm even looking at people that I can do group study with for level three because I've seen how helpful it was. So I think those are like differences in preparation for level one and versus level two. But then another thing I would say is if you're writing level one right now, give it your 100%. Don't feel like, oh, because there's another level means that, I can just, because a lot of people are writing level one with you. Like, number of people that are writing level one typically will be more than level two because level one is entry. Everybody can write. And CFA has like, sort of a benchmark. There's no score, but deep down that you are competing with other people. So if you have 100 people writing level one and the pass rate is 44%, it means that 44 people will pass. If the same pass rate applies to level two, the number of people writing are different. So you now have, let's say you have 60 people writing. So that's like a difference in terms of individuals that will pass the exam. So level one has like a lot of people. It's the first entry. A lot of people write level one and then decide to drop off. Some pass and drop off. Some don't pass and drop off. So put in your 100. Then if you're writing level two, you put in your 100 in level one, put in 120, 150 in level two. That's just the simple truth. Like you have to put in more. Everything is, bulkier. Everything is more technical, it's more confusing. And in addition to that, you are leveraging on some of the learnings because they assume you already know some things from level one, right? So in level one, they'll probably be asking you questions around let's assume they're asking you there's this particular concept that just skipped my head. But I know that what happened was by the time we're starting level two, there was a case of, oh, you've already done this in level one. So now let's dig deeper into this in level two.
Would that be
So
that linear regression thing?
there was linear regression. There was also one around options valuations,
Okay.
something like that. So it's basically so it's
The
it's
build up.
almost like, oh, in level one you've
Mm-hmm.
done the smaller version, and then in level
Mm-hmm.
two there is a
Scale it.
you get to a particular stage, and in each of the lines in evaluation you then have to take into consideration percentage and all that. While in level one
Mm-hmm.
you're just moving through and doing your valuation based on the discount rate in each of the years.
Yeah.
So there are some things that they assume you already know from level one, and that will play out in level two. So that just makes it, bulkier. And that just means that if you're doing level one now, it's an opportunity for you to know it properly so that when you have to start building on it, there is no shaky foundation.
Thank you
Yeah.
very much, Noah. And it can't be clearer than this, and that's because level one is different from level two. I've had a prep provider who once said, if you coast through level one, then level two will kill you.
I have some people that have theories around that, oh, level one, they let people come, and then when you get into level two, they're like, yeah, here now, okay. Now the battle begins. But
Yeah.
level one is still tough, so yeah.
Hmm. It looks to me like early preparation will solve a lot of this
Key.
problem
Yeah,
on all levels. To be
yeah.
honest, on all levels, it will solve a lot of around this. And yes, people are there are preferences. People like the short. I mean, if the if the other prep materials like Trezor, Wiley, the short ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they were not if they have lost their magic, they won't be in market. They won't be in the market
True,
anymore.
true,
Yeah, so
true.
so it works, right, for some people.
Yeah,
But then I like the personal touch that comes with this session. That's why we don't hold one in a year and say, okay, we've
yeah,
shared these strategies. No. That's why that's why I know from the polls, there are people who are on this call who have attended our sessions before. They will know that we are addressing, there are topic questions we addressed before, we're addressing again. But this is a different light that you are clear about ethics, its curriculum, and its curriculum. Right.
yeah.
I'm sure you're saving somebody tonight. I'm sure that this
I
is
hope you are
probably the
saved.
clincher. for somebody, to be honest, a whole lot of people even get to see the videos because it's being streamed live right now on YouTube, so it's going to be there after this session, immediately after the session to be there. So I think that that's powerful, and people need to think about it. Okay, let's then talk about classes, lectures. We've
Okay.
talked about a whole lot of things. So with level one, you were with New Frontiers. Level two, you were with New Frontiers. Would you say there's any value in attending classes to prepare for the exams? And if there is, we'd like to know.
I think, yeah, so from even from my previous conversations, I'm sure the answer to this is it's known. Um, I personally learn a lot by hearing, and coming to New Frontiers, it helped from different perspectives. So first off, it helped to pace myself, using other people preparing for these exams. It helps, to see other people preparing and then using that to know what level of preparation I'm at. Then the learnings, the ability to break things down. So for example, there are some courses that, and I want to say I fail, but I don't think it's not even a feeling because when you look at, some courses like fixed income derivatives, and you look at how they are presented in the curriculum or the study texts, and then you have someone explain it to you, the difference is clear. Like you would have the one of the tutors take two classes on a particular reading, and you have the full knowledge, like you understand the concept, you are able to solve questions around it. And then sometimes we even go deeper to like conversations as to how this applies like in real world situations, right? But then if you want to use just the text, you probably spend 2 weeks constantly just trying to understand it and trying to internalize it. So classes in New Frontiers, it has helped me to like, speed up that learning curve, that learning process. So that has been very, very, very helpful.
Mm,
It has helped in my group reading also. Like I mentioned, the first time I was reading with colleagues, but the second time we've all, moved up and we're in different places. And I met people in New Frontiers, and from New Frontiers, we started our own sort of study session, and
mm,
that has been really, really helpful. So, then even mocks. I know that for level one, they organized mocks for us, and it was really, really good. Like from that mock, I was able to pace and say, okay, this is what I got in my mock, so I
mm,
feel like I'm ready now. So that was also very helpful. Then the revision classes, I was telling him about um a revision class on financial statement analysis then that Banji led, and people were, I think I missed that particular one, and a lot of people were telling me that you needed to be there. Like you are preparing for your exam, you have like 3 weeks or 4 weeks to the exam, and there's a revision class that gives you all the points you need to know about the exam just before the exam. That was really, really, really helpful. Even just before this, I was telling him and literally almost begging him for part of the reason why I shifted not writing my level two. Yes, I'll say it. Part of the reason why I shifted not writing my level two to August was immediately after level three, rather, next year, is immediately after level two. I asked them, when are we having our next class? And they were like, oh, because, a lot of very, very valid reasons. They could not have level three class again this year. So we're now having it sometime next year. And I'm like, I'm going to wait for the class. I can start reading before the class, but I'm going to prepare to attend the class. And he also mentioned to me that there are the online versions that you can, have and prepare with. So because I could see the value. And it was interesting because I know, because I was telling my former colleagues that the second time I was coming back to New Frontiers, I came with my tail between my legs. That's what I was telling them. Because I came back, and part of the Mr. Isaka, one of the faculty members, he was surprised to see me. He was like, "Oh, Noel, long time." And I'm like, it was like, you stopped replying my messages because in 2020 I stopped going to class. I did it for level one. I was like, oh, I'm good. But then I came back again um for the second time for level three because I saw the value. And now I'm the one begging. So sorry for level two, and now I'm begging for level three class. I'm like, okay, please start the class. Start the class. When is it going to start? Because it really, really helps. It even helps to pace my learning because when we have a class today, you don't try to read. if you haven't read it before the class, you then try to read and make sure you cover it before the next class. And there are some classes where before the next class starts, the tutor asks you about the previous class. So, oh, we did this before. Give us a recap. More than one of the tutors do that. So that just really, really helps. So yeah, from a lot of perspectives, the classes at New Frontiers have been super helpful. And then they've also, okay, I want to say they've started, but it's been a while. But because, well, initially, because at 2019, we're not having the online, recording. And now we have the online recording. And I haven't gone through it as much because I'm always in class. At least I always try to be in class. But I have classmates who said that they listened and they enjoyed it. So the days where they could not come, they enjoyed the sessions. Like they listened through the whole session. So you can imagine what it means for you to sit at home and listen to a 2 hour session. You know that is worth it. So and that's also very, very helpful. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Noel. At the end of the day, we just want to see more people pass the exams, and I think that you have added very tremendous value tonight. The place of actively planning, the place of solving a lot of questions, the place of group reading, the place of your physical class bias,
Yes.
your own physical class bias, which is absolutely beautiful, absolutely fine, um, and all that, all that comes together, right? At the end of the day, to give us, the outcome, the desired outcome that we have. I know our audience is listening, and I just want to be sure that they are picking something. So let's go to the chat and let's just type something that you've picked tonight before I move to the next thing. So I want to show something right now to everyone. It's just about 10 minutes or less, 10 minutes or less. I'm going to run through it quickly. Then Noel will be back to take all the questions, that we have. But then before I move on at all, just to be sure that we are adding value tonight, I want you to please drop in the chat something you have learned, something you have picked. Yeah, Oluwafemi, I see that you have a bias for physical classes like Noel. Absolutely. Yeah, you guys are the reasons why we haven't scrapped physical classes. In fact, I've
Please
done my
don't.
valuation, I've done my financial projection, I've seen how
I
much
know,
I'm going to save if I
I
scrap
know,
physical program.
I know, right? I heard one of the tutors mention it like, oh, um, mention that physical classes, they cost a lot. And I know, but we are selfish as candidates, we are
Look
selfish.
at you people with
We
the
know it
price
costs
of
a lot.
diesel.
I know, because then the price of diesel increased and it was like, oh, maybe we should just do online. And I'm like, no.
Don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry. And to be honest, like I'm going to be sharing in a few minutes. Guys, you can keep dropping in the comments, and this is gonna you will find out very soon why, even as someone who is responsible for running that organization, right? When I relate with the board, many times from a financial standpoint,
Yes.
this is me telling you tonight and with full responsibility. Many times I ask why they do these things, why they still run that place. I question
Why
it
they
from a
still,
financial why we still run the school
oh, okay.
from a financial standpoint many times, right? But I've come to terms, right, from as someone who is responsible for driving the organization, I've come to terms with the fact that our metrics are more than financial. The
Yeah.
biggest metric, the biggest satisfaction is our pass rate. Is the number of people whose hand we are able to hold to success. I'll give you a typical example. Last year, just out of was it last year or 2 years ago, just out of COVID. So we had a quick review program at level three, something quick for people to come together. Then some physical classes we did. I'm sorry, some virtual classes we did. I mean, there were students who said they don't know me, they don't know Michael, but they've been calling them on phone after the classes. They've called them
Yeah.
to solve problems for them the way you reach out to faculty, and that tonight is the first time they are going to see me, they are going to see Michael and all that, right? So But how did that meeting even come up? So some students started calling some of our faculty members and saying, "Hey, we want to take you out. We passed level 3. We are now charter
Oh
holders.
wow.
You people made a lot of sacrifice and all that." So not one, not two. So it's like, how many people do I want to go out with now? So one of the founders reached out to me and said, "See, put something together." So we put it together. I mean, it's these people that said they want to take you out.
Yeah.
But then we went to that event and immediately we created a budget. We carved out a budget for it and we paid for that. We paid for that evening. Everybody
Oh
headed to their field and went to their homes. Yes. So because there is greater satisfaction that comes,
yeah.
and like I'm going to share with you, the impact is beyond this market. There is, it's going to be tough to go to any market and there's nobody that has passed through new frontiers. I mean, not just this local now Nigerian market,
Yeah.
to be very honest with you. And you will see that when I'm having a conversation, when I'm sharing my thoughts, around some of these things very soon. So thank you very much, Noel, for the insight you shared. Oluwafemi says, thank you, Noel, for the great session. Early preparation cannot be overstated. Love says, physical class, early preparation, paying attention to ethics. Oluwafemi says, start with ethics and end with ethics. All right. Yeah, I'm a classroom person. Virtual is good, but I mean, to be honest, that's it. But let me tell you the truth tonight. I am Noel.
Yes.
If I were a candidate at New Frontiers, I'll be a virtual candidate.
You?
Yes.
Hmm. It
Yeah,
takes a lot.
I will. Oh no, it's fine. So for me, yes, I will be a
Yeah.
virtual candidate if I were a New Frontier candidate and I'm
Yeah.
not doing what I'm doing right now and I choose to write this exam, I'll be a virtual candidate. My person will survive virtual. I'm happy with virtual. Like
uh, I highly doubt I will.
I'm one of the people who are excited about post-COVID changes, about the changes I brought that it accelerated, right? I'm one of the advocates.
Oh.
So yeah, so
Funny
that's
enough, oh,
yeah,
really? Funny enough,
yeah.
I enjoy working from home. That's different for work. But for classes, no. I want you to see me so that I don't have any excuse to be doing
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
and so I can
Thank
like
you.
focus. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to work from home is not hard. It's to take classes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear that a lot from a lot of people who have the physical. Yeah, even for teachers. I thought you said you don't like teaching this thing virtually. Like I like to make. Well, work. You say work. Don't worry. That one I'm okay from home.
Exactly.
Yeah. So there is that actually. Thank you very much, Noel. So again, like a student, there was a particular candidate we had. Do you know this guy? His family, he has a family, lives in Port Harcourt. He actually insisted at his place of work to be transferred to a Lagos branch so that he
Oh,
could
wow.
attend classes with New Frontiers. I mean, the extent that people that have bias for physical, and that's one reason why
Yeah.
we can't close down our building just yet. Um, and this guy moved to Lagos, and one day he told me, so he can't go back to tell them to take him back because he misses his family right now. And to be honest, there have been times in Lagos he couldn't come to class physically. He had to watch from his Lagos apartment, and he said the experience was just the same.
The same.
He said the
Interesting.
experience was just the same. I mean, just like you confirmed tonight about people who had seen
Yeah.
studied from the LMS as well. And say the experience is just the same. So it's just to find out who you are. Take
Yeah.
responsibility for your learning style, identify and be true to yourself. If
Yeah.
you think you have to be in a physical class seated, fine. If you are comfortable sitting anywhere else, fine, right? Just make sure that you do not miss the session, get the value that you can, and move on from there. I mean, we've had candidates who come from Ibadan every weekend to take classes
Yeah.
in Lagos. I mean, we say, no, this virtual thing is not for me. And there are people like the first review I'm going to read to you when I'm talking tonight. Temi Oshin, level 1, level 2, level 3, slam back to back, no story. She lives in Canada, right?
Oh, wow.
Yes. We have students in Hong Kong. We have students from all over the place right now. The LMS is seamless. They don't have any issues. They're comfortable and all that. So again, we will continue to provide both.
Yes.
It's for you, but you have to find your style. Please don't fail because you were sitting at home when you should be in class. It makes no sense. You are the reason why we are not shutting down the physical facility. So please
Yeah.
be there. It's yours to use. I mean, people even live there sometimes when it comes. I mean,
Oh, yes. I know someone in my level one. So he was already married with kids. So he had to rent a smaller apartment somewhere close by
okay.
just so he could stay there and prepare for his exam.
I mean,
And
it's
that's
interesting.
apart from the many people that actually stay in the New Frontier Center during exam.
Yes, I mean, I
Yeah.
know people who go to work from there, self, and come back and sleep, and and all that. So everything is there. Everything to help you succeed is there. Thank you very much, Noel. I'm sure you can grab another glass of water just for like 10 minutes while I take this presentation. Then for
Oh, okay.
then we'll come back to you, and you'll be able to take questions from the audience. Then we'll call it a wrap
Okay.
this evening. But thus far, I'm sure tremendous value have been added, and I see a lot of that comment going on in the chat section. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so guys, please confirm that you can just a minute that you can see my screen. All right. Please confirm that you can. It's important that I know that you can see my screen.
Yes, we
Can you
can.
please? Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I can proceed. So welcome. This is New Frontiers Learning Center's CFA exam webinar, right? We've had this what we've been doing all night. Welcome, interview, the CFA program. We talk about the New Frontiers and the CFA program itself right now. Then we'll take question and answer and we'll call it a wrap this evening. Of course, we've taken all these polls already, so I'll just move on. Yeah, this is Temi. I was just talking about Temi. Temi is senior consultant at Deloitte, and she says New Frontiers Learning Center is an amazing CFA tutor center. The teachers are highly knowledgeable, accessible, smart, and help you understand the concepts you need to succeed in the CFA exams. If you're looking for a great CFA tutor center, either in Nigeria or abroad, yes, they offer excellent online classes. Of course, you can tell why that is. Temi wrote back to back level 1, level 2, level 3 at one sitting, and she passed. She just passed the most recent level 3 exam. She was in our in the last class that their result was out, I think 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. Right. So she concluded her CFA journey, with us. He says this is the place for you, and I highly recommend New Frontiers Learning to anyone looking to succeed in their CFA journey. All right. The CFA program, you need to understand the program itself. Of course, it's the most respected and recognized financial markets and investment credential in the world. We call it the gold standard, right? It's administered by the CFA Institute, based in the United States of America. There are over 150,000 charter holders globally, and the number in Nigeria is currently growing. Excuse me. Earning the charter requires that you pass 3 levels of exams, 36 months of qualifying work experience, and pledging to adhere to the code of ethics and standards of professional conduct. I'm sure you can see ethics again. It's a big deal with the CFA Institute, right? So you do not want to joke with that. The CFA program is organized into 3 levels, with each robust level built around a candidate body of knowledge, and it's tested in about 5-hour exams for each level, right? The formats at level 1, you're writing multiple choice, you're attending to multiple choice questions. At level 2, there's something we call the vignette. It's like short episodes, right? With multiple choice questions at level 2. At level 3, you have the vignette supported um, constructed response questions. That is, you are responding like an essay writing to short episodes. And of course, multiple choice questions where you respond to the vignette that are given as well for that. Of course, the topic areas from ethics to financial statement analysis, quantitative methods, portfolio management and wealth planning, equity, fixed income, corporate issuers, which used to be corporate finance, derivatives, economics, alternative investments. The exam happens 4 times a year for level 1, that's FMAN, excuse me. February, May, August, and November. At level 2, 3 times May, August, and November. And for level 3, you have February and August exams, right? All right then. So at New Frontiers, our story is one born out of a compelling desire to help ease the journey of every CFA exam candidate in Nigeria. Our founders went through this journey with little or no support of any kind. However, they vowed to turn into reality the dream of every candidate right, pursuing this charter, irrespective of their backgrounds, whether it's the finance and non-finance alike. Well, we've been doing this for more than a decade, pursuing this vision, and as a result of this, we've been able to support over about 3,000 professionals from New Frontiers who are now in various markets of the world. And that's why we are advising that you join us today, um, to grow your career. Here are our founders, Ayokule Ojo, CFA, Michael Anyima, CFA, Olani Ogunbayo, CFA, and Banji Fentola, CFA. Now, why New Frontiers? The first thing, most important thing to us, is our faculty. You won't find this kind of faculty anywhere else. I know there are prep providers where one person does the teaching across levels, multiple levels actually, and it's good. It's fine. It's their style. But at New Frontiers, we insist on industry experts, leading industry professionals. We insist on that, and with specialty in certain areas. And that's because we are not just preparing you to pass the exams, we are preparing you to be successful in your career ultimately. We've been doing this for 13 years, and we're market leaders in this space. Um, we give assignments, monthly tests, mock exams to reinforce your learnings in class. There is a no pass, no pay policy, of course, with terms and conditions apply to that. We have scholarships. We give faculty prizes. Noah was talking about passing at the 90th percentile. If pass at the 90th percentile, we have a faculty prize for you where you get a discount. There are other discounts we offer, special offers. We've been interviewing candidates for scholarships for next year um, in our program, right? So I hope the window is still open. Obafemi can confirm that in the chat. And of course, candidate support session. There are people who have found their jobs just by joining New Frontiers. So there's jobs and career opportunities because people know that won't know what we do. They believe that we have a pool of people, of right people, for what they're doing, for what they are trying to do. So people reach out to us first of all many times before they talk to other people about opportunities in their organizations. And also we support you with series like this and many other things that we do. Okay, so this is Abiodun Agbola. Abiodun Agbola works with financial market dealers as FMDQ, right? FMDQ, yeah. So he says he's had a background in microbiology. It's crossing to finance was a lot. New Frontier has given him that community to help understand the CFA curriculum and make that switch that's required from microbiology to finance. So this is for someone out there who says, I have no finance background. It doesn't matter. There's someone on our faculty who is a medical doctor who teaches CFA today, right? So it's gone from being a medical doctor to becoming a CFA charter holder, an industry leader, and now is supporting other candidates to succeed on their journey, right? Good. So what program fits you? We have a regular program which happens for 16 weekends. We have a quick review program that happens for about 4 weekends, 1 month, and we have an executive program. These programs will run both as live and self-paced. Self-paced means you want to access the recorded classes. All of this program will happen as self-paced, and they will happen live, whether physical or virtual. Right, we provide that. For the regular program, 16 weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and public holidays. Fridays at 6:30 p.m., largely virtual. Of course, if you want to come to school, you can, because we take topics like ethics on Fridays. Saturday to Sunday from 9 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., 15-minute breaks every 2 hours, and a major lunch break of 1 hour that splits the day in two, right? Lecture notes, mock exams, and tests. It's hybrid. You have the best of both worlds, physical and online. You get access to class recordings and of course community and networking, like you must have heard from Noel's story, right? When you join New Frontiers. Our quick review program happens one month. This is for people who have studied, but they want to understand quick wins and address naughty areas. You have the privilege of interacting with our faculty for 1 full month. Same 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. on Fridays, and Saturdays 9 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Right, of course, same value. Mock exams, tests, lecture notes, hybrid options, physical and online, best of both worlds. Access to class recordings and community and networking as well. Our executive program happens for 6 months. But I do not talk a lot about this right now at the moment. But then, if you're interested, reach out to our team and they will tell you what is required to join the executive program. Now, the calendar for 2024, and we're excited. Yeah, this is our calendar for 2024. We're excited about it. In January to April, we're going to have our level 1 and level 2 program run, the regular program, right? As you can see. Then from April to July, we're going to run the only level 3 program that we run during the course of the year. And of course, level 1 and 2 program will be back from July to October to cater for candidates who are writing in November and in February. This one that happens here from January to April caters for candidates who are writing in May and in August, right? So January to April, if you're writing in May or in August, then this is the program for you. January to April, sign up now. We started enrolling candidates for that. Now, just before the exam month in July, the exam month is August for this period. There is a quick review program for level 3, right, in July. That's the only quick review 1 month program for level 3 candidates. It happens in the whole month of July. And if you want a quick review for level 1 and 2, it's going to happen in October, which is just before the November and February exams, right? That's our calendar. This is this calendar will be in public domain on New Frontiers Learning website, newfrontierslearning.com, right? And if you follow us on LinkedIn, I'm sure this will be put out there very time. So this is publicly available information out there. So we've started enrolling candidates right now, and our classes start in January for level 1 and 2, the May and August exam direct. So please reach out at newfrontierslearning.com/enroll or call many of our numbers, or reach out to us via WhatsApp. We'll be more than ready to help you. I think this is the one this is the central theme for us at New Frontiers like right now, and Noel has spoken a whole lot about it. At level 1 and 2, at no additional cost to you, if you're going to join our level 2 program, level 1 program, let's say, for example, and this is highly hypothetical, let's say, for example, that our program costs 50,000 naira, right? What we are offering you right now is that instead of waiting till January to pay your 50,000 and join the class, which you still will do anyway, you can pay the same amount right now, or even less, and join and begin to prepare early with our recordings. We have these recordings that we have online, right? So we'll give you access to it for 80 days, our self-paced program for 80 days, about 300 hours of study materials for free, all the topics reviewed, right? All the end of questions chapters answered inside it, about 1,200 or about 1,000 past question and answers on the mock exams right there. You are connected to a mentor immediately, free access to mentors. You have unpaid access to faculty. You don't have to pay for it. It's 24/7 access to faculty where you're studying and you're struggling. You can reach out to them and say, I'm struggling with this, please. And the worst they will say is drop me a chat. I'll respond to you after work or something. But we always get our faculty to respond to every question that you have. Of course, peer-to-peer networking, you can begin to form your community and your groups right now. Of course, there's the value of joining a strong professional network, and of course, a flexible body student system and community. There is nothing that beats preparation, early start, and that's why it's at no cost to you. It's absolutely free. It's completely free. It's not charging you anything extra at level 1 and 2. So please, guys, if you know anybody who should be on this, start now. It's all to your benefit. You have nothing to lose. We put this program out there because we believe that the major deciding factor is your level of preparation. And with this program, what it means is that if you're able to go through this at your own pace, it's strictly at your own pace. The resources are there. The end of chapter questions have been reviewed at the end of every class. You have access to faculty at your own pace. You have about 1,000 questions or more that have been answered there, or that with answers on the mock exams there. All of them. You're able to follow at your own pace. What happens is, even if one is a lazy student or work doesn't even allow you, if you're able to go through these, right, what will happen is by the time your class picks up, whether in January actually, you will be, by the time the classes start in January, what will happen is that attending those classes will mean your second interaction with the materials. So for whatever it is worth, repetition is the mother of learning, right? If you want to learn, it's repetition. It's what successful people do. Footballers, soccer players, athletes, anybody who you see out there who is succeeding is because they have found a pattern that they're repeating. And that's why that bestseller is called The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, not the seven activities. Not eat and runs. It's seven habits. It's habits, right, that you must build over time. And I think that this gets you in the mood. It helps you get ready. From now till January 10th, you have access to this to go through the materials at least for once. Over 300 hours of resources for free at no additional cost to you. I think you should latch onto this or tell someone out there about it, right? It's important to increase your chances of success in the exam. This is Temi Busari. Temi says, I enrolled for exams as a biological sciences graduate. So you can imagine the burden of transitioning to learning about treasury bonds and derivatives. Looking back now, I could not have done it without the support and commitment of the instructors. They are unrivaled in teaching the curriculum and set the stage for my rewarding career. Right. So if you want to reach out to us today, this is the number to call. This is the website to visit. And I advise that you please follow us on LinkedIn, excuse me, on Instagram as well at New Frontiers Learning Center for updates about our programs and resources and things that we have out there. So you could please go to newfrontierslearning.com, www.newfrontierslearning.com/enroll to join us today, or just pick your phone, send a chat to Obafemi or Isiaka on any of these calls, right? So with this, I'm sure that I'm able to do justice to information about the CFA program and New Frontiers Learning Center to somebody out there. I hope this information was clearly shared. Noel, if you're there, it will be time to then return and we can then have um, a beautiful conversation and wrap it up tonight. So, guys, thank you for following. At this point, we'll be taking your questions. So, if you have a question, you could use the raise your hand feature. Then we could call you if you want to open your microphone or if you want to type in the chat. I think this is the time to put it there. Noel, I would say that the overarching theme for tonight would have been early preparation. Um, Nothing beats early preparation. I remember Shegun mentioned
Yeah.
as well. Shegun, being a law graduate, said, I think there was whether level one. I think Shegun had about 8 months for preparation or something. That's tremendous amount
Yeah.
of value out there. It's you can't beat that because at the end of the day, you have to put in the hours, like you said. It's not just the 300 hours is not a myth. It's
Yeah.
not a myth. No, it's not. You have to put in those hours. And whatever it is that you did at level one, again, I'm just reiterating things I said tonight. You need to probably double down at level two because the content is more. There's a whole lot to talk about. Um, it's deeper. The depth is a whole lot different than
Yeah.
at level. Yeah. So, and like someone rightly said, the challenge is passing level one. The moment you pass level one, you are hooked. You are hooked, right?
Yeah.
And it's a good one, isn't it? I mean, the rewards are tremendous. When it comes to whenever I'm talking to candidates, I always tell them you can't make decisions based on cost. You make decisions based on value. You have to look at what happens with having those three letters behind your name, right? What it does for you in your career, right? Globally, locally. I tell people being having the CFA designation is like another international passport on its own, right?
Yeah.
It's just what it is. There's no, I mean, there's nothing. It's what it is. For what it's worth. So thank you very much for showing up tonight. So guys, if you have any questions, this is the time to take it. Unless we are saying we're good. If you have no questions, then I'm glad that Noel had done justice to all your questions. But while he was speaking, but then we are more than happy to take your your questions if you have any tonight. I think we've had an amazing session tonight, to be honest. I think you've
Thank you. I am.
made very tremendous value contributed to people tonight. So I will not be surprised if people have no questions. So maybe I should just say,
It
what will
means,
be your
yes, it
parting
means I
words?
explained everything.
Absolutely, yeah. So, so let me just say, what would be your concluding words? What would be your parting words to a level one, level two, or maybe even a level three candidate on this call tonight? What would you say?
So, I think parting words would be, and this is me also looking to touch base with people who, so for example, I know there is level one sometime in February, right? Well, there's level one this month. I think they should write sometime around now. There's level two with people writing next week, and then there's level
Mhm.
one in February. So I think I'll just quickly touch base on that. So if, for example, you are writing, February, right, and you're already sort of looking at maybe shifting, or you're looking at the possibility of what it will take for you to actually meet up with that preparation. The first thing is to come in terms with what your abilities are. Don't try to overestimate your abilities. If anything, start with underestimating your abilities and plan accordingly. So if your exams are very, very close by, then double down on the preparation. Try not to get anxious. Let the anxiety, just let it out, and then focus on what you can control. So, for example, if your exam is really, really soon, right? If you need to use a shorter text to read, that's fine. Focus on answering as much questions as possible. And then for those of us that have, as much time to prepare, I think the key bit is from my personal experiences, your level of preparation most of the time reflects in your output. So what that means is we should put in the work. I'm saying we because I still have level three to write. So we should put in the work. And one thing that will get us comfortable with putting in the work is starting on time. So, for example, if you need to write, level two in May, it will be nice to start now because then you have December, you have 2, 3 weeks of December that you probably will not touch your book, right? So, okay, 2 weeks of December and 1 week in January that you probably will not touch your book. So, if you're writing May, start now. You can start with something that's familiar to you, right? That was something I used to do. I did it for level two. I started with equity because equity was valuations and I'd done lots of valuations. So it was okay, let's start with the familiar one. That just it just sets the ball rolling, gives that motion. So when you're done with that, then you can now double down on that. So yeah, so final parting words is let's put in the work, right? Put in the hours, block some time if possible in the mornings or in the evenings and on weekends. Put some structure around the reading, track your progress, and make sure you give enough time to answer questions. Prepare, right? To answer questions, solve your mock exams before the actual exam, and don't lose sight of, ethics. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Ethics, 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 ethics. You made sure ethics was the last thing you talk about.
Yes, so it sticks.
Yeah, ethics. Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
I think
Thank you
you have
very
you have
much.
a question on the chat box though.
Yes, yes. So, okay, asking about the scholarship. Yes, absolutely. So, uh, I'm aware that that our team has reached out to everybody. So, if you applied and you haven't been reached out to, please, um, just go to our website. There is a live WhatsApp icon right there. Just click on it and have a conversation right with anybody on our team. They will be able to schedule you for an interview and sort you out. Right. The interview is just to ensure that the things you wrote there during the application are true and that you are deserving of the scholarship because there are a whole lot of people who want the scholarship. So there's no need giving the scholarship if you do not need it actually, right? And that's why we do the interview. So that's really how it works. Okay, thank you very much, Noel. tremendous session. What I like about this session tonight, very unique. Your perspective tonight, beautiful. We've not had a session like this before. What you said, different from every other thing every other person had said. You're a stickler for the curriculum. You're a stickler for the physical class.
And I
Yeah,
recognize
yeah,
there are a lot of people abroad, so it's fine.
exactly.
We can do the
No, no,
online
it's
classes
fine.
also.
No, there's a balance. Yeah, sure. I mean, and you acknowledge that, so perfect. But I mean, I also stated my parents as well. There
Yeah,
is, and there is, yeah, your preference for ethics. Your, is it preference I'll use now?
or the
Your
focus.
attention, the level of
Yeah,
attention, right, that you give to ethics at the beginning, and I think that's really good. That's an easy way to get out of it, to start with it and to end with it. I think
yeah.
it's a very easy way to handle this. Thank you very much, Noel, for your time. For tremendous value have been added, and I'm sure that our audience would definitely attest to that. Thank you very much for your time. I
Thank you
look forward
very
to
much,
having you
Ayo.
back after level 3, right? And celebrate you
Fingers
very
crossed.
soon. Yeah, celebrate you
Yeah,
very
same
soon
here, same here.
as a charter holder. Right. Thank you very much,
Thank
Noel.
you.
See you.
All right, thank you. Thanks
Thank
all.
you. All right. So
Have
thank
a
you
great
everyone for
evening.
joining tonight, and we're excited that you could join us up till now. At this point, we'll draw the curtain. I'm sure tremendous value has been added to you. Oladayo says thank you. You're welcome, Oladayo. And we would be seeing you in class, right? Where the rubber actually meets the road. Thank you, everyone, and let's have a good time.